The national religion of Japan is Shintoism, and not to oversimplify, but it's basically the worship of the Shinto gods or kami. They are sacred spirits which take the forms of things like wind, rain, mountains, trees, and rivers. Thus, when an invading force of over 10,000 Mongols, not once but twice, attempted to occupy Japan, both times they were fought back by two separate typhoons. It's no wonder why the Japanese referred to these storms as Kami-Kaze, or divine wind. This is the story of a series of typhoons that changed the fate of Japan. Throughout the 12th and 13th century, the largest empire to ever rule the lands of the earth grew in the steppes of Mongolia to reach Eastern Europe through Eastern Asia. It was twice the size of the Roman Empire at its peak, with swift military tactics utilizing famously horseback. Empires one after another fell to the Mongols. So by the mid-13th century, Kublai Khan, the grandson of the infamous Genghis Khan, had already conquered much of China and Korea. Now he set eyes across the sea towards Japan, and specifically the island of Kyushu. Keep in mind, we are in Japan. In the 13th century, feudalism is reigned supreme, and the samurai are the set of warriors that are going to defend Japan. And without a doubt, they are outstanding in what they do. But against the full might of the Mongol Empire, including their technological advances, which included things like gunpowder and grenades, it would take a miracle or something otherworldly to stop this incoming surge from the West. Now that we've set the stage, the first invasion was launched in 1274. Given this took place some 800 years ago, the exact numbers are vague, but it's estimated that between 20 and 40,000 soldiers sailed across the Tsushima Strait, and at first it looked like they were going to accomplish what they set out to do, first rolling over the islands of Tsushima and Iki. In November of 1274, they made their assault on mainland Japan in the Battle of Hakata Bay just outside of Fukuoka. It is estimated that 10,000 samurai defended the coast against the Mongol fleet, and they actually fought off them, forcing the Mongol fleet to return to sea to rest and regroup. This is when things changed, when divine wind intervened into the battle. A typhoon ripped through the fleet, damaging majority of the Mongol armada. An estimated 15,000 soldiers drowned in the storm. This, of course, forced the Mongol fleet to limp back to Korea, leaving Japan victorious despite the overwhelming odds against them in this battle. Now, keep in mind, the Mongol Empire had already been conquering far-flung lands across thousands of kilometers. People they ruled over believed they were invincible, and Kublai Khan knew this. So he used this vast resources he built up to launch a second invasion on mainland Japan. So in 1281, the Mongols returned to western Japan, this time with 140,000 soldiers and 4,500 ships. Much like last time, the samurai put up a fight, but now with this even stronger force moving in, they knew that unless something happened, the Mongols were going to sweep over the country. That is until another typhoon swept over Japan. This time, 70,000 soldiers drowned and 4,000 ships were lost. And you might think, 4,000 ships, how could have this happened? Well, remember that this armada was hastily built over a very short time because the Mongols wanted to get back in there and invade Japan. So they were not really built for seafaring purposes, just to get the soldiers across the Tsushima Strait. Thus, when the storm hit, they easily sank. So after the second typhoon, even the mighty Mongol Empire had a hard time rustling up enough resources to support the soldiers for a third invasion. So they ultimately gave up and they turned their attention elsewhere, like northern China and towards Thailand. Over the years, this story became part of Japanese culture. It was widely known that the emperor called the Kamis to come and defend the mainland from invasion. It was these type of stories that were told to soldiers over the years, and as Japan's empire grew into the 20th century, eventually the Kami-Kaze returned in the form of young pilots who knew that they were going to give their lives to defend the mainland Japan, just like the Divine Wind 800 years prior. There has also been a lot of embellishments on this story in popular culture, becoming almost legend. But we do know it took place outside of the physical written records there. In the early 80s, Tokyo University began to use sonar-aided digs off the coast of Kyushu, and what they discovered, absolutely incredible, numerous Mongolian artifacts still there under the water. So as most of you know, I lived in Japan for a good 10 years. This is a story I have been wanting to tell for some time. I know it's kind of a quick short on it. There is a book that I first learned about it. Since you're watching this, you probably speak English. There's hundreds of books on this in Japanese. Divine Wind, it's a great book, and it's not only on this, but plenty of other historical stuff if you do want to check that out. Just look it up on Amazon. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments, I'm going to do a Q&A on this here in a week or so, so just give me your feedback. And as always, stay safe out there, and yeah, thanks for watching.